Hey guys, what's up? Another video in the same day. Can you imagine? I'm doing really well, right? Anyway, welcome back to my channel. My name's LA. Let me adjust the lighting just a bit. Is that good? What do you think? All right, we'll move the light here just for a moment. That's perfect. Okay. So what's up, guys? I'm back with another video because I think that what I really should be doing is, in addition to what happened with Drew and Ralph, I wanted to really talk about relationships. And like I've mentioned plenty of times before, I wanted my channel to be more about relationships, cultivating really healthy relationships with your partner, your spouse, your significant other, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. I want my channel to really give advice to people who may be struggling in these areas, and because I've struggled, right? Me and my husband have disagreements. We have arguments that lead up to, fights, and we have held grudges. We've been mad at each other for more than a day. You know what I mean? But we all have these hurdles that we overcome. And my husband and I have been successful in really being able to overcome the hurdles that we've had, just because we're two different people, right? He's 40s, I'm late 30s. So we've lived completely different lives, had completely different childhoods, young adulthoods, dating lives, different lifestyle scenarios. So things that happen between us and with us both involved, we're not going to react to the same way because of our differences, simply by being human. Even two people that grow up in the same household don't have the same responses and reactions to certain events. Things that trigger me may not trigger my sister, and we might, we've had the same pretty much upbringing. So I really wanted to dive in more into Ralph Pittman. And if you, my sisters, are seeing things like this in your own relationship, why do we, because we've all done it, why do we ignore red flags? That is my biggest concern with Drew and Ralph, and what I wanted to talk about in today's video. The main thing is that Drew was getting advice from all of her cast members about what was going on with Ralph. And of course, on TV, Kandi doesn't want to look like she's telling Drew to remove herself from the situation, i.e., break up with him, leave him. Sonya was new to the cast, so she didn't really put a lot of input into that scene, which was, if you remember, 2 seasons ago, Drew and Ralph were in the kitchen. It was like the opening scene for the season. Drew and Ralph, Kandi and Sonya were all in Drew's kitchen, and they were discussing this DM, maybe Instagram DMs, from this woman who was supposed to be Ralph's assistant, and the conversation they had about this woman offering Ralph a full body massage, and Ralph, in fact, not saying no, but saying something slick like, that might be too much temptation for me. No. If you don't nip that type of stuff in the bud as a married man or a married person, you're opening up that opportunity for someone who already violates your marriage. This woman does not, she knows you're married. She knows who you are. She knows you have a family. So for her to offer you this, number one, already means that she has no boundaries for your marriage. And if you, as the person in your marriage, don't set those boundaries for people who want to infringe, then there's a big issue there. If you don't blatantly say no to people who want to infringe on your family, to people who want to disrespect your spouse, you are the problem. You are the problem. Because I'm going to be honest, nobody in the streets, nobody at my husband's job, nobody owes me anything. The only person I'm committed to and who is committed to me is my spouse. I don't expect Saint Teresa out here in these streets when my husband leaves the house. He's not expecting Jesus to be, you know, in the grocery store with me or passing me by at the mall. So his expectation is for me to be a dedicated, loyal, faithful spouse. My expectation is for him to be a dedicated, loyal, faithful husband. So if you, Ralph Pittman, can't be the person that you're supposed to be, which is a dedicated, faithful, loyal husband to your spouse, then there was already problems and Drew ignored them. That is the type, no. And it's probably, and I'm not victim blaming, because in that situation, Drew was the victim. I'm not victim blaming. What I'm saying is that Drew, like all of us, men and women, we've all been there. We've all ignored red flags, but I really want to dive into what is that reason? Why do we choose to ignore things and let things continue, right? So my biggest question with today's video for you guys is, maybe leave a comment and tell me, why do you think people ignore red flags? On the last video, I asked if there were any legal experts who knew why they would be rushing down to the courthouse. So in the comments in this video, make sure you tell me, why do we ignore red flags? What is that, right? So I wanted to talk about their relationship, but mainly just the triggers that really, really stood out to me from my past situations that made me say, ooh. Because I think always hindsight is 20/20 for all of us. We all have to look back and be like, what were we thinking? That's for anything, right? So if hindsight is 20/20, let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, how do you think Drew feels right now? I'm sure she's looking back like, oh, 2 years ago, I could have been done with this. Instead of 2 years trying to rekindle the romance in your situation that just wasn't happening, right? That is the worst part. That is the worst part, realizing that you saw the signs 2 years ago and you did nothing about it. You could have walked away then. You could have saved your energy then. You could have went on that girls trip. You could have introduced yourself to new people. You could have been out networking, having fun, but instead you were working on something that ultimately came to its demise, but you saw its demise 2 years ago or sooner. So it's just maybe a lack of confidence, a lack of self-love, self-worth, self-esteem, because my whole thing is, if you see somebody's treating you poorly and you don't act on that, at some point, it's not their fault. At some point, this is you. You've chosen to be this person who accepts this behavior from people. Why are you like that? You deserve better, but you won't allow yourself to leave a situation that you know is not good for you. So mainly, why do we ignore red flags? Is it our lack of self-worth, our lack of self-confidence, or do we feel this dedication, this obligation to stick it out with this person? Because I know that in some situations, I've been in a relationship where I knew he wasn't great for me, but I also knew that a lot of him needed me and my guidance. You know what I mean? So I felt like this obligation to support this person through it all, thick and thin type of love. You know what I mean? I was ride or die for somebody who was actually not horrible to me in my face. But the stuff that I found out later and the stuff that I kind of knew about and the incidents that happened, I knew he was not good for me. But in my face, you're doing the right things. You're this nice guy. My family likes you, blah, blah, blah. So we stick around for whatever reason, right? But there was also this obligation in the back of my mind where I was like, I gotta do this. Guys, give me one moment. Let me turn on the lights.